your friends all have to say.
Hi, and welcome to Pillow Talk with Angela. I'm your host, Angela Stribling, and I've got my friends on the show today. I'm so happy to talk to them. They're both so accomplished, and they've accomplished something that many people only dream about accomplishing. They've been married over 33 years, and you can tell they're still best friends. And I know that I've been friends with them for decades, and I absolutely love them both. They've got a book out, a new book out. They've got several books out, so I'm sure they're going to tell you all about that. But you need to be along this journey with them. Tonight, we're going to talk with Dr. Willie Jolley and Dee Jolley, and they're going to tell us about their journey and how they manage to keep it together, still be best friends. You can tell they still really love each other and like each other. That's a key. So please welcome the brilliant friends of mine, Dr. Willie Jolley and Dee Jolley. Actually, Dee Taylor-Jolley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be on with one of our favorite people on the planet, the
so
one
nice.
and only, the gifted, the incredible voice of Angela Stribling.
Beautiful inside and out.
Beautiful inside and out. Absolutely.
Thank you both. Thanks for coming on the show today. And, you know, when I wanted to talk about this, of course, you both came to mind when we wanted to talk about marriage. I mean, you two have stumbled on it. Well, actually not stumbled, but you've accomplished something that few people accomplish. You've been married over 30 years.
40 as of June 28th. 40. We celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary, June 28th. And we dated 4 years before that. So we've been together almost 45 years.
As long as I am old. How about that?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you know what? That is quite, I didn't realize it was 40.
Yeah,
that's
40 years.
That's a lot. I mean, there are people who can't stay together for a year. And
right.
We went out to lunch and came back married.
Good Lord.
Yeah, we eloped. We went out to lunch one day and came back married. And have been married for 40 years since then.
So you guys were dating, and one of you said, okay, let's just go get married right now.
No.
And we lived in different cities. I had left DC. I had lost my job in the association market as a training director. And after a while, I said, you know what? I'm going to take myself home, lick my wounds, and start over again.
Okay.
So I went back to Hampton, Virginia, and Willie would come to visit on the weekends or long weekends.
Yeah, every other weekend, once a month, something like that. And I came one weekend. A friend of mine and his wife were going to Virginia Beach on a Thursday because I'd always come down Saturday morning and leave Sunday evening on the weekends when I come. And they were going down Thursday. And I said, hey, can I catch a ride with you? And I was there Friday. And I said, let's go out to lunch.
His favorite seafood restaurant.
Yeah, the seafood restaurant was my favorite. And on the way to lunch, I said, you know, we're riding right by the city hall. I know. Now, first of all, let me preface by saying she had told me for months, years, she was not going to marry me.
Well, let me just say, I had been married before. I had taken responsibility for the fact that it did not work. And I'm like, okay, I'm not the marrying kind. This does not work for me. And I don't need to do this again.
Okay.
So she said no. I kept saying, you know, I want to get married. No. And that's why we dated for so long, because she kept saying no.
And I made recommendations as to individuals that I thought would be a good fit for him.
Oh, my goodness.
She did. We were best friends. And so we go out to lunch. I said, we're on our way to the restaurant. Don't we go by City Hall? She said, well, yeah, I guess we have to go by City Hall to get to the restaurant. I said, well, wouldn't it make sense? I'm never here on a Friday for at least to stop and get some information. I can ask some questions about potentially one day you might change your mind about getting married. She said, okay, well, I don't see a need to do that. But
there's a waiting period. Normally there's probably a waiting
she said
period.
There's probably a waiting period to get a license.
A blood test.
Yeah, 3-day waiting period or
Something.
3D, anything. I said, well, let's go find out. We go in. She said, well, I don't really want to do this, but anyway, we go in, and I asked the lady, is there a 3-day waiting period? Is there blood test, or what's the process? She said, all you need is $7, and you can get your
$7.
Your license.
What?
Congratulations right now. I said, all right, wouldn't that be good? I said, wouldn't it make sense that I get the license? I said, ma'am, how long is it good for? She said, for a year. I said, wouldn't it make sense? I'm never here on a Friday. Should deal with like flip it. Oh, it's your $7. I'm still not marrying you. Okay. And we go through, I get the license, and I say to the lady, well, ma'am, if someone was going to get married and they had a license, what would be the next process? What would be the next step? She said, you'd get on the Justice of the Peace docket so that you could get married by the Justice of the Peace. But I must tell you, it's a 3-week wait to get married by the Justice of Peace. I said, okay, but what would you do? She said, you'd go up to his office and you do it. So I'm saying, well, wouldn't it make sense? I got the license. We could at least go up there, talk to the people and learn the process and learn how long it takes. And maybe if you ever change your mind. So I'm talking faster and faster. We get up to the Justice of the Peace office. I say to the lady, well, I got a license. And what's the process? She said, well, there's always a 3-week wait for the Justice of the Peace, but somebody just canceled. 15 minutes later, I was a married man. Come on.
Look at God.
Thank God, good.
God is so good. I love this story.
She didn't know what hit her.
It so
She
much.
didn't know what hit her. I sold her on it.
He's a
The
great
wheels were
salesperson.
turning.
The wheels were turning. The things
Yay.
were moving in coordination. So that was June 28th, 1985. And
that was the
Oh,
best decision I ever stumbled into.
You know what? I mean, you two are so inspiring. And I knew you before you got, we've known each other a long time.
you knew Dee when we were
At the
dating
radio.
at the radio station.
Yes,
Right? Before we were
exactly.
married. Right.
That
That's
was
right.
a long time ago. And I'm proud to say that I'm friends with both of you, really good friends. You're two of my closest friends. And I love just being a part of your journey.
Amen.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. You've got this, I saw your TED Talk.
Which is a
and
very popular marriage TED Talk now.
It
And
is so good and so inspirational. It's so informative, and it's got so many gems in it that I asked Willie if we could just talk about that today.
yes, absolutely.
The title of this particular show tonight, how to never argue in marriage again. That's a big deal.
Interesting. We've been married 40 years. We have not had an argument in 38 years.
Doesn't mean we don't disagree.
Yeah, we disagree, but we don't argue. And so we haven't had an argument in 38 years. And it's because we have a system. And the system works if you will just go through those points that are in the TED Talk. And by the way, people can see the TED Talk free at jollymarriage.com. jollymarriage.com. They can see the TED Talk. They can learn about our book, and they can even get a free chapter from the book, which is
Communication.
and which is the largest,
The biggest problem.
the biggest problem
that we have.
Yeah.
and the biggest chapter in the book is of communication, and that we give away free.
I think
Okay,
it's
so
important-
I'm sorry, Dee. I just
Yeah,
wanted to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go. I think it's very important that people understand how we got to this point.
Yeah.
So we didn't just because we were disagreeing and it was ugly in a Chinese restaurant.
Tell us that story.
So we were, a couple years into our marriage, and
My brother was coming to visit for the first time.
from Hampton, Virginia, with his wife, and
I wanted to make a good impression.
yes, and I called him. I
Okay.
said, "Hey, what do you like? What kind of food?" He said, "Whatever you like." Well, I like Chinese. I'm an Asian food nut. I love it. I could eat Asian every day. And so I said, "Well, I go to a very good Chinese restaurant. I'll get some things, and by the time you get here, we'll be good to go." So he comes up from Hampton. We go. I made the mistake of taking my wife with me because I usually never took her with me when I went to get Chinese food. Because first of all, she knows nothing about Chinese food, and she just kind of gets a little bit of the food, but I get all of the food. Anyway, we go to the restaurant. She wants to make a good impression. I say to the person at the carryout, here's what I need. I know what I want. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want 4 dishes because they give big portions. And my wife says, "Oh no, that's not enough food. You're being chintzy. I don't want my brother to think we're cheap. You need enough food." I said, "That's more than enough food."
I didn't want to run out of food.
I said, "I got this. I know what I'm doing. This is more than enough food for all of us." She said, "No, you need more." And I said, "No." And I also said, "Well, look, you don't want to have leftover Chinese because it's not as good the second time as it is the first day."
I don't even understand that. And he was loud.
And I got louder. I said, "No, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't even eat Chinese food. Let me handle it." And she kept saying, "You need more." And it escalated. And finally we were hollering, or I was hollering. And she put her finger in my face and said, "I will leave you."
Now, where was that going to go? I don't even know. It just seemed like a good thing to say.
But it caught my attention. I said, okay, dial it back. Well, that's one thing I tell people. When you're in the midst of an argument, you must learn how to dial the volume.
Somebody got to
dial it back. Don't keep escalating. Dial it back. I dialed it back. That's how I'm going to get whatever you want. I got all the things she wanted. More than enough food. We went home. Her brother met us there and his wife. We had a great dinner. When they left, though,
we had leftovers.
We had a lot of leftovers. And I said, we need to talk. Yeah. And we talked about not the leftovers. We talked about the argument and how it came to be. And she said, "I don't like people hollering at me."
My daddy never hollered or raised his voice to me. And my daddy was a fire and brimstone preacher. So I'm used to caring, gentle, sweet conversation.
So she said, I don't like people hollering at me. And I said, okay, check. I will never holler at you again. By the way, I don't like people threatening to leave me. I don't like threats. So she said, check. So since that day to this, I've never hollered. She's never threatened to leave me. And we've not had an argument. So what we call that is rules of engagement. What are your rules of engagement? Everybody's going to have disagreements. You got two people come from two different places, two different experiences,
two different cultures, two different family backgrounds in terms of how you communicate. Some people are very loud. They're loving, but they're like loud. So you need to understand where they're coming from in terms of how they grew up and how they handled communication.
And how they handle disagreements. Some is fight, flight, or fight. So different ways to do it. Anyway, we talked about that. We got our rules of engagement and we set it in stone. And
what is below? That also includes what is below the belt.
What's below the belt?
Things you need to know that.
Yeah, you need to know. You need to discuss that. If somebody calls somebody out their name or talk about their mama or their parents or cusses at them, it's disrespectful. It bothers them. Some people do different things that they know bothers the other person. So you got to say to that person that's painful. That's hurtful.
So you have to agree as to how you're going to disagree, and you have to keep your word.
That's the big
because
one.
That gets to trust.
Keep your word.
You cannot, when you disagree, get so emotional that you forget the commitment that you made to this person that you say you love.
Speaking of commitment, one of the things we tell couples, when people get married, they take a vow, typically. And the typical vow is, I take you for richer, for poor, in sickness or health, for better, for worse.
Right.
That's what they say. And they say yes.
Until death.
And till death do us part. But they really don't mean it. Yeah. They don't mean it. They want, I take you for richer, for healthier, and for better. But there's a worse often. And what's worse? And are you willing to make the commitment to stay during the worst, through the bad times? that's when your marriage gets stronger
Yes.
and is not I'm a try and stay married. It's I'm going to stay married. Many people know I make my living as a professional, motivational, inspirational speaker
Yes.
and a success coach. And I talk about goals and the power of goals. And I encourage everybody to set goals that will empower, inspire, and uplift you. That said, when you get married, it should not be a goal to stay married. This is the time when you make a commitment.
Mhm.
Promise.
Big difference. Yeah.
Big difference. So every year, 32 football teams set out to win the Super Bowl. And they tell their supporters, we got a goal this year to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Only one wins. 31 don't. So if they had made the promise, this year I promise, then people would leave them alone. But because they set the goal, they know they can reset and try again next year. So that's why you got a goal, because you can reset. But a promise is all in. We're all in. So I told Dee when we got married, she had been married once before. I said, look, I got something for you. There's a way out of this marriage, and you should know what it is right from the start. If you die, you good to go.
I'm telling you.
You die, you're all right. You're out. There's no problem. Other than that, and other than that part, and other than that, we in this for the long haul.
I love that. And you know what? You live it. It's not just the words. And with your rules of engagement, with all the other things, being married for all these years, 40 years, I mean, you get to tell us all how to do it. And you inspire us.
It's been a joy. It's been a joy. The journey has been joyful. It's been tough. Not so much, I can think, when I look back over the 40 years, not so much in terms of our relationship per se. We've had issues. We've had situations. We've had...
and we're a blended family.
And that was a big issue. Blended family was a big issue. Different ways of looking at raising children. Lots of things we've had to work through.
Even timing. He is not a morning person. I mean, he made his living when we started. He made his living singing for his supper
at night.
He was evening into the night.
Right.
I am early morning, 4:30 a.m.
Goodness. That's the middle of the night.
That's what I say. I don't get up to like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
But you figured it out. You figured it out.
Worked out. I've already. And we pass each other.
We pass it. That's one thing. Second is she's a neat freak. I am the extreme opposite. You see my office, it's kind of junky, and I like it like this. Okay. And so I like it. When we go to a hotel, we always get 2 beds, because I can take my luggage and dump it on the second bed.
And he does that.
And throw it all over. I feel comfortable in that area.
And I have all of my stuff rolled up in my
her little compartments, everything we're supposed to be. That we're opposites. So that's another thing we had to work through. I say that to say opposites can still be together. And you don't have to always agree. You don't have to have the same way of doing things.
But it's mutual respect.
Yes.
That's the big word.
Respect.
Mutual respect. And he is my best friend. Now,
Oh,
what
that's
does that
beautiful.
mean? When somebody is your best friend, it is okay to be vulnerable. Say, you know what? I'm out of sorts, so I'm not feeling it today. You know what? And I say to him something, I was like, do I look fat? And he'll say, and you know I'm not going to answer that question.
Does my butt look big? You know I'm not going to answer that question. Gentlemen, listen carefully. Never answer that question. This is a trap. It's a trap, gentlemen. Do I look fat? Is my butt look big? No, never answer that. You lie, whatever you got to do. That's a trap. Oh, one more thing while it's on my mind. Gentlemen, let me get this is for the men. Men only you can hear this, even though women might be listening. Men, listen. When your wife is in earshot, an earshot, and someone asks you how long you've been married, here is the consummate answer to that question. How long have you been married, Willie? Not long enough. Come on, somebody. You can't lose with that. You win.
Oh, I love that so much. You know what I love is you two are obviously best friends, and
Yes.
not only do you love each other, but you like each other's company.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And it's the little things that you're pointing out that make a big difference, because
Yeah.
I
Let me
talk
get-
to some people who, I mean, they've been together so long, and, one is smirking while the other one's talking, and just, looking like they really don't want to be there. And you can't
that's
fake that.
good point, Angela. We do, well, we got the marriage book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It
marriage
Last.
mentoring.
Yeah, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. And we do mentoring. So many people say,
Which means look at us and you can follow us in what we do.
yeah, we don't
because
do
our lives are open book. So we're not
counselors.
counselors.
We're not counselors,
Right.
we're mentors. So we'll give you our best mentorship or coaching advice and say, you should try this because this could work. Okay, that's it. We do these marriage events, or we have done them in the past. People get the book, or the book is a bestseller now. And they've seen the TED Talk. They went to jollymarriage.com, saw the TED Talk, and they said, we want you to come to our event, do a marriage seminar. And what we always do, Angela, is we do a question and answer period where we pass out postcards, and we tell people to write their question, do not put their name, so it can be anonymous.
Well, that's good.
And they put them in a big basket, and we start pulling them out. Here's what we found. What you just said. Many people are married 30, 40, 50 years and are miserable. They smirk, they question, they complain because they don't have the systems. That's why the book is so profoundly impactful for so many couples. We've had couples who were on their way to divorce court. One couple had signed the papers for divorce. We recommended they get 2 copies of the book. 2 copies of the book, read it at the same time, and at the end of each chapter, discuss what you learned in that chapter. Each one of them have come back and said, transformed our marriage. Transformed our marriage. Even the ones who had signed up for divorce had put the papers in, they canceled the papers, and next time we heard from them, they're calling saying, we're going to be in D.C. at the Mayflower Hotel on such and such a date. Could you come and have dinner with us? We said, what you there for? They said, we're celebrating our anniversary. We're happier than ever. So go to jollymarriage.com. Get 2 copies of the book. We give you a deal when you get 2 copies, or get the bundle. A lady the other day ordered the bundle, which are 2 books, 2 workbooks, an audio book, and a CD seminar on one of the events we did, so you can hear what the questions are and things that come up in these incredible seminars, and the things that people just ask that are, oh my God.
Download also.
Yeah, you can get a digital version as well. You can get it physically.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Because we got people all over the country, around the world now. Oh, people around the world every Monday night, 9:00 Eastern, tune into the Jolly Marriage Show on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, and LinkedIn Live. And then you can get it at the Jolly Marriage Show on YouTube and replays. So every Monday night, 9:00, we do a 30-minute show, 9:00 Eastern, and we take questions that people will send in advance, and we'll deal with them. Stuff that people are dealing with.
And they have comments.
Yeah, it's a great
joy. I mean, I could talk to you 2 all night, as you know, but we're kind of at the end of the show.
Yes.
But I just want to thank you both for just being such an inspiration. I mean,
Well,
Thank you
people
for having us.
Thank you for having us, Angela.
It's a pleasure. I was so excited that I was going to see your faces and get to interact with both of you and to hear what you've been up to. I mean, we barely scratched the surface, but we got some good information out there.
And you mentioned also.
Yes, I was going to say, before we let you go,
I mean, a new book out there.
So give me the laundry list of everything.
Yeah, here's the marriage book. It's called Make Love, Make Money, Make It
Make
Last.
It Last.
Yeah, by Dr. Willie and D. Jolley. And we give you tips, as well as, I'm going to read one quote before we leave them from that book that's profound. And this is a brand new book. Now, this is not available on Amazon yet, but you can get it at it's called Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Better. And it's a book that is designed for people who want to develop wealth, or those who want to teach their children how to maintain the wealth they have developed.
Very
So
important.
rich is good, wealthy is better.com, and then jollymarriage.com. Let me read this one little quote in the 2 minutes we got left. I do XM every week, so I know how important the top clock is.
Yes.
This is a quote from the marriage book from Zig Ziglar, the great motivational speaker,
love him.
who was married over 60 years when he died. He said, I have no way of knowing whether or not you married the right person or the wrong person. But I do know that many people have a lot of wrong ideas about marriage and what it takes to make a marriage happy and successful. I'll be the first to admit that it is possible that you did marry the wrong person. However, if you treat the wrong person like the right person, you could well end up having married the right person after all. On the other hand, if you marry the right person and you treat the right person wrong, you certainly will have ended up marrying the wrong person. I also know that it is far more important to be the right kind of person than it is to marry the right person. In short, whether you marry the right person or wrong person is primarily up to you.
Amen.
Oh, I love that.
So stay in there, folks. I know it can get tough. It can get hard. There might be issues. Here's what I recommend. Get a marriage mentor. Reach out to us. Get the book. No, first get the book. Get 2 copies. Go to Jolly Marriage. If you got a real bad issue or something you need real work with, contact us at info@williejolly.com. Info@williejolly.com. Say, I want some marriage mentoring. And third, pray. Come on, somebody. Pray.
It
Yes.
gets better together.
Yeah,
But
pray.
any relationship where there's more than one person, you got to work at it.
You got to work at it and say that divorce is not an option.
I
The
love
only
it.
way
And you
out of
gotta
this
want it.
is death.
You gotta want
Okay?
it.
You got to
Yeah.
want it. There, you work through it. I love you, Angela. You're
I
gorgeous.
love you
You're
too.
brilliant. You're beautiful. You're one of the best people. This is one of the best media voices on the planet, and one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet in
Oh,
person.
thank you.
We've known her for over 40 years, and she's
Yes.
consistently been the same.
Wow.
Thank you so
And
much. I
looks
guess
the
I
same,
better
too.
stop.
Good God Almighty, she still looks the same. I don't know how she does it.
I guess
Okay.
I better, start telling the truth about my age. Thank you both so much. I've got so much love for you, and thank you. You've given us so much wisdom, and I can't wait to have you on again because there's so much more that we can talk about on this very important subject. But in the meantime, follow my friends. Make sure you support them. Buy the books, their audio tapes, videotapes, everything, the TED Talks, all of the above. Dr. Willie Jolley, D. Taylor-Jolley. Thank you both. I love you. Thank you for being on.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. Have a good night.